We have to get the Congressional Black Caucus. We have to have a coup. We need a Congressional Black Caucus coup. Everybody got to go. Tim Scott, you got to go. Cory Booker, you got to go. All of you Negroes, all you U.S. representatives claiming to represent the black community, all of you got to go because y'all ain't doing a bunch of Democratic Party plantation slaves. A bunch of Democratic Party plantation slaves. Brothers and sisters, we at war. But Kamala Harris was in Africa, raising the rainbow flag. Kamala Harris was in Africa, protecting human rights for the rainbow. But she ain't done nothing about LaShawn Thompson. Kamala Harris, when are you going to Atlanta? When is the vice president going to Atlanta? See, we got to have this conversation because a lot of you Negroes are still on the Democratic Party plantation. You are still on the Democratic Party plantation. What is Joe Biden going to do about the prison system in America? Oh, nothing, because he co-authored Bill Clinton's 1994 crime bill. Joe Biden is the reason. Joe Biden is the reason America incarcerates the most people in the world. Joe Biden is the reason blacks in America are the most incarcerated population in the world. But you Negroes still voted for the man who destroyed the foundation of the black family by locking our men up. You brainwash Democratic Party plantation slaves. You brainwashed Democratic Party plantation slaves. You brainwashed Democratic Party plantation slaves. Put Joe Biden in the White House, even though you know he co-authored the 1994 crime bill with then President Bill Clinton, which incarcerated more black men in America than any place in the world and more than any time in the history of the United States. Kamala Harris, when are you going to go check out the conditions at Fulton County Jail? And let me give a shout out to my Chicago Africans. Let me give a shout out to my Chicago Africans. Let me give a shout out to my Chicago Africans because I heard the Cook County Jail isn't much better. I heard the Cook County Jail in Chicago isn't much better. I heard the Cook County Jail in Chicago is also guilty of human rights abuses. I'm being told the Cook County Jail in Chicago is also guilty of such human rights abuses. Where the black lawyers at? Well, y'all just running around hustling black people for money in the name of justice. Where the real black lawyers at? We got any black lawyers out there fighting for anything independent that they not being paid for? Do we got any black lawyers out there fighting for anything independent that they not being paid for? Do we got any black lawyers out there fighting for anything independent that they not being paid for? Murdered by bed bugs. Even the damn bed bugs work for white supremacy. Even the damn bed bugs work for white supremacy. Even the damn bed bugs work for white supremacy. And see, here's what needs to happen. Those of us who had family inside of the Fulton County Jail, those of us who had family inside the Fulton County Jail, those of us who have family inside the Fulton County Jail, y'all need to organize and initiate a class action lawsuit. Crimes against humanity, a crime of genocide. What is happening in Atlanta's Fulton County Jail is an act of genocide. What's happening in Atlanta's Fulton County Jail is an act of genocide. What's happening in Atlanta's Fulton County Jail is an act of genocide. What's happening in Chicago's Cook County Jail is an act of genocide. What's happening in Chicago's Cook County Jail is an act of genocide. What's happening in Chicago's Cook County Jail is an act of genocide. all the families of all the inmates need to come together and sue the state of Atlanta, the county in which Atlanta is in, the U.S. government for condoning it and not protecting people's constitutional rights. All the families of all the inmates need to come together and sue and protest. You have to make an issue of this, black people. Stop accepting your oppression laying down. Stop accepting your oppression laying down. We are at war. Stop accepting your oppression laying down. Atlanta family of the inmates in the Fulton County Prison, you must organize, unite, protest, show up, show out, and you must sue. This is a crime against humanity. That brother was a victim of America's mass incarceration genocidal campaign against African people. LaShawn Thompson was a victim of American genocide. He was a victim of American genocide. What is the Congressional Black Caucus doing about this? What is the Congressional Black Caucus doing about the conditions in America's prisons for African inmates? What is the Congressional Black Caucus? Our 59 black federal officials, what are you all doing down there besides having tea and biscuits? You old ass geezers need to get some legislation passed. You are not in Washington, D.C. for tea and biscuits. You are not in Washington, D.C. for luncheons or dinners or celebrations. You are in Washington, D.C. to fight for resources and justice for African people. We have to get the Congressional Black Caucus. We have to have a coup. We need a Congressional Black Caucus coup. Everybody got to go. Tim Scott, you got to go. Cory Booker, you got to go. All of you Negroes, all you U.S. representatives claiming to represent the black community, all of you got to go because y'all ain't doing nothing. A bunch of Democratic Party plantation slaves. A bunch of Democratic Party plantation slaves. Rest in peace to my brother LaShawn Thompson, a mentally ill man, eaten by bed bugs in the mental health wing of the Fulton County Jail. Let me give y'all a little piece of history. About 2 years ago, Dr. Ifa Tunde was supposed to go speak to the inmates at Fulton County Prison in Atlanta. About 2 years ago, I was supposed to speak to the inmates at Fulton County Prison in America. And on the day that I was supposed to go speak to my brothers and sisters inside the Fulton County Prison, I got a phone call that said, you are not allowed to come. Brothers and sisters, why did they stop me from speaking at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta? Why did they stop me from speaking at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta? I speak in prisons all over the world. I speak in prisons all over the world. I speak in prisons all over the world, and I don't charge any money. They stopped me from coming. You know what I think? I think they stopped me from coming in retrospect because they didn't want me to see the horrific human rights abuses taking place at the Fulton County Prison. And so y'all stopped me from coming into the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta because you didn't want me to see the way my brothers and sisters are being treated behind the walls, brothers and sisters. That's right. They stopped me from coming into the prison. Fulton County stopped the Prince of Pan-Africanism from giving a free, inspirational, motivational message to the inmates there. And now we find out 2 years later, y'all got inmates being eaten by bed bugs. We got to overhaul the criminal justice system. Too much money is being made off black inmates for them to be living under these conditions. Too many people are making a living off of black people being in jail for our brothers and sisters to be existing under these types of conditions. Too much money is being made off black prisoners for our people to be living and struggling under these types of conditions. But the problem with us, we don't want to organize. We don't want to organize, we don't want to mobilize, and we don't want to confront white power. We don't want to organize, we don't want to mobilize, and we don't want to confront white power. We don't want to organize, we don't want to mobilize, and we don't want to confront white power. Let's go to Shanquella Robinson's. Let's go to Shanquella Robinson. Let's go to Shanquella Robinson one time. Let's go to Shanquella Robinson one time. Let's go to Shanquella Robinson one time, brothers and sisters. Let's go to Shanquella Robinson one time. The FBI has decided no charges will be filed against anyone in connection to Shanquella Robinson's murder. Am I correct, brothers and sisters? Did I read that headline correct? Did I read that headline correct? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. They say the autopsy shows that there was no damage to the spine. The autopsy shows that there was no damage to the skull, allegedly. But we have a whole video. We have a whole video of her being assaulted by coons. We have a whole video of Shanquella Robinson being assaulted by Negroes in Mexico. So whether there was damage to the spine or damage to the skull, this woman had scrapes and bruises all over her body. Blood vessels in her eye was busted out. She was found on the floor unconscious. We know she was beat because there's video evidence that our sister was beat. How in the hell do you not at least question? How do you not at least indict those who were there so you can get some truth? You're not even going to pursue justice in the case of our sister, Shanquella Robinson? Are you? Where the black lawyers at? Where are the black lawyers who care about more than money? Let's read. Prosecutors in the United States will not bring charges in what was previously a federal investigation into the death of Shanquella Robinson from Charlotte, North Carolina. Officials within the U.S. Attorney's Office in 2 districts announced the decision in the statement on Wednesday, issued shortly before the woman's family members were scheduled to speak about the probe. The investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of Miss Robinson has been a priority for federal prosecutors. As in every case under consideration, the government must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a federal crime was committed. Based on the results of the autopsy and after a careful deliberation and review of the investigative materials by both U.S. attorneys' offices, federal prosecutors informed Miss Robinson's family today that the available evidence does not support a federal prosecution. The available evidence does not support a federal prosecution. The available evidence does not support a federal prosecution. Can somebody help me understand? Can somebody in Los Angeles help me understand? Can somebody in Oakland help me understand? Can somebody in Compton help me understand? Can somebody in South Central help me understand? Can somebody in San Bernardino help me understand? Can somebody in San Diego or Sacramento help me understand how you have a video of a woman being beat? You have a body of a deceased female with bruises and scratches and marks on it, but you have no evidence to bring a federal prosecution. Brothers and sisters, something don't smell right about Shanquella's case. Brothers and sisters, something doesn't smell right about Shanquella's case. Brothers and sisters, something doesn't smell right about Shanquella's case. Something don't smell right. Kamala Harris Here we go again. Aren't you a black woman, at least part-time? Vice President Harris, aren't you a black woman, at least part-time? Shanquella Harris, aren't you a black woman? Excuse me. Vice President Harris, aren't you a black woman, at least half the time? Why don't you take a personal interest in having the Federal Department of Justice reopen Shanquella Robinson's case? Vice President Harris, why don't you get Shanquella Robinson's case reopened and re-examined? Because something ain't right here. Is this a case? Is this another blatant case of Black Lives Don't Matter to the White House? Is this another blatant example of Black Lives Don't Matter to the White House? Is this another blatant example of Black Lives Don't Matter to the U.S. government? Because if Shanquella was white, if Shanquella was white, if Shanquella Robinson was white, and she was seen being beat by friends on a video in Mexico, everybody would have been arrested in 48 hours. Everybody would have been arrested in 48 hours. If Shanquella Robinson was white, being seen beaten on video in Mexico, every kid at that vacation, the so-called Cabo Six, the so-called Cabo Six, if that was a white victim, everybody would be in jail. They would still be in jail. Just like our brother, LaShawn Thompson, was held for 90 days, eaten by bed bugs. Well, guess what? If Shanquella was white, the Cabo Six would have been held for 90 days. If Shanquella was white, the Cabo Six would have been held for 90 days. Where the black lawyers at? Where the black lawyers at? So we got LaShawn Thompson, rest in peace. We got Shanquella Robinson, rest in peace. Let's go to Jalen Walker. Can we go to Jalen Walker one time? Can we go to Jalen Walker one time? Wait a minute, I got to get my water. Where my water at? Well, I got to take a quick sprig. Let's go to Jalen Walker. Let's go to Jalen Walker. Let's go to Jalen Walker one time. Let's go to Jalen Walker one time. Let's go to Jalen Walker. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? The grand jury decides not to charge the officers in the shooting death of Jalen Walker in Akron, Ohio. Y'all remember the brother who got pumped with 40 plus bullets? Do y'all remember the brother who was fleeing from the police in Akron, Ohio, and got shot more than 40 times? Do y'all remember him? Do y'all remember him? Do y'all remember the brother in Akron, Ohio, who got shot more than 40 times running from the police? Well, listen to this. This is worse than Rodney King. This is worse than Rodney King. This is worse than Rodney King. Ben Crump don't fight for justice. He only fight for money. Ben Crump don't fight for justice. He only fights for money. Mr. Walker, a 25-year-old black man, was shot dozens of times after an attempted traffic stop and a chase in Akron, Ohio last year. A grand jury in Ohio has decided not to charge 8 Akron police in the death of Jalen Walker, a 25-year-old black man who was shot dozens of times by the police after an attempted traffic stop and a chase last summer, during which he shot at the police. I don't think there's no evidence he shot, though. They claim he shot at the police. I'm not sure he shot. Where my Akron, Ohio Africans at? Did Jalen shoot at the police? I don't remember hearing that. Where my Akron, Ohio Africans at? Did Jalen Walker shoot at the police? I do not remember the initial report saying he shot at the police. I think the media threw that in there. He was killed on June 27th, 2022. Jalen Walker was killed June 27th, 2022, after the Akron police tried to stop his car. When he did not pull over, the video released by the police showed the officers chased him, first in vehicles and then on foot. The officer said they thought he fired a weapon. They thought he fired a weapon, but then they found that the weapon had not been discharged. Attorney General Dave Yost of Ohio said on Monday that Jalen Walker had fired at least one shot, but there's no proof. And he was unarmed when the police chased him. He was unarmed when the police chased him. He was unarmed when the police chased him. Listen to this. 8 Akron police fired 94 shots. It's more than I thought. I thought it was 40, brothers and sisters. They fired 94 shots at one black man. 94 shots at one black man. 8 white racist Akron police on June 27th of 2022 fired 94 bullets at one unarmed young black man. 8 police fired 94 bullets at one unarmed black man. 94 bullets. He was shot 46. 46 of 94 bullets took lodge in his body. 46 of 94 bullets. 46 of 94 bullets hit our brother Jalen. The Attorney General said the police did not know he left a gun in the car. The police did not know he left a gun in the car. The police did not. That's a damn lie. He never shot the gun. He never shot the gun. He never shot the gun. Even before the grand jury's decision, Akron city officials braced for protests and unrest by covering the windows of the first floor of City Hall with plywood and by fencing off the Summit County Sheriff Office. The city's public schools announced that they would be closed on Tuesday. City officials urged residents to protest peacefully. The decision not to charge the Akron police came at a time of heightened scrutiny of killings by police since the murder of George Floyd. If you are black in the state of Ohio, if you are black in the state of Ohio, if you are black in the state of Ohio, you better be doing something about this miscarriage of justice. LeBron James, I know you're trying to catch Kobe and Mike with another ring. LeBron James, I know you're trying to catch Kobe and Mike with another ring. LeBron James, I know you're trying to catch Kobe and Mike with another ring. But my brother, for you to be who you are and to have not said anything about the grand jury's decision to not indict these 8 murderers, and for you to not have said anything about the grand jury's decision not to indict these 8 murderers for 94 bullets, 94 bullets, 46 of which hit a brother who was unarmed. LeBron James, if you have nothing to say, my brother, about this execution in your hometown, if you have nothing to say at all about this execution of this brother in your hometown, I'm going to lose a little bit of respect for you, my brother. I have tremendous respect for you. You're not an activist at all. The NBA manufactured that. You ain't never been an activist. You don't have an activist bone in your body, sir. But you are a good example of a respectable, responsible, professional black male, and I applaud you for that. But if you do not speak out against this, I better never hear the word activist come out of your mouth again. LeBron James, I'm talking to you. If you don't say something about the Jalen Walker case, all 8 police walking free after shooting 94 bullets, 46 of which hit our brother, I better never hear the word activist come out of your mouth again. Now, to the Akron family, and our heart go out to Jalen Walker's family, what are we doing in Akron about this? That's what I want to know. What is the black church in Akron doing about this? What are the black politicians in Akron doing about this? What are the black grassroots organizations in Akron doing about this? What are the black businesses in Akron doing about this? Same thing in Atlanta. What are the black churches in Atlanta doing about LaShawn Thompson being eaten by bed bugs? What are our hip hop brothers and rappers and actors in Atlanta doing about the bed bug murder of our brother, LaShawn Thompson? What are the community-based organizations in Atlanta doing about this? What are we doing about this? Oh, yes, I only am worried about my own people. You damn right. I have tunnel vision. Dr. Umar is the first human being to admit he has tunnel vision. I have tunnel vision. I'm only concerned about what happens to my own race. I have tunnel vision. That's right. I have tunnel vision. I am only concerned about the best interests of African people. I wish harm against no other group. I have no malice for no other group. I have no malintent for any other group, but I am only concerned about the struggles of African people. I am not you. I am not you. I have not been brainwashed by Islam and Christianity into making me think race don't matter. I have not been brainwashed by Islam and Christianity into thinking race don't matter. I have not been brainwashed by Islam and Christianity into thinking race don't matter. Race always matter. God made me black, and my blackness is a part of my divinity, and my blackness is a part of my ancestry. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Any institution that separates my melanin energy from my spirituality, anybody who tries to separate my melanin energy from my spirituality will be rejected. The heart and soul of my spirituality is my melanin. If your Bible ain't talking about my melanin, I don't need your Bible. If your Quran ain't talking about my melanin, I don't need your Quran. If your Torah ain't talking about my melanin, I don't need your Torah. We have to stop letting people separate our blackness from our divinity, because our blackness is our divinity. This is not a color, it is energy. Melanin is the God molecule. Melanin is our birthright to God. Melanin is our birthright to greatness. The hell I want to belong to a religion telling me to forget about being black? What the hell I want to belong to a religion that tells me to forget about being black? You can fool some of the people some of the time. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time. You can't fool King Kong consciousness none of the time. So we talked about Sudan. We stand in solidarity with Sudan. We talked about attorney at war Alton Maddox joining the ancestors. I hope my New York City Africans get me the funeral information. And I would love to speak at his funeral because he had a deep influence on me, attorney at war Alton Maddox. We talked about LaShawn Thompson being eaten by bed bugs. That was an act of genocide. That was genocide. Y'all don't think that was genocide? You don't think LaShawn Thompson's murder, a mentally ill black man being held without a charge, convicted of no crime, 90 days on a misdemeanor, and he dies in pretrial custody over a misdemeanor? He dies in pretrial custody over a misdemeanor. He dies in pretrial custody over a misdemeanor. Eaten alive by bed bugs. You don't think that's genocide? Let me read you the definition of genocide. See, I got to educate you Negroes today. UN definition of genocide. Boom. Definitions. Y'all ready? I'm giving you the United Nations Genocide Convention definition of genocide. I'm giving you the United Nations Genocide Convention definition of genocide. Here we go. Genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. A, killing members of the group. A, killing members of the group. You are the jury. I am the attorney. Tell me if America is guilty of these definitions of genocide. These are the international definitions of genocide. Y'all ready? Letter A, killing members of the group. Is America guilty? Is the U.S. government guilty of killing or supporting the killing? Number 2, causing serious bodily injury or mental harm to members of the group. Causing serious bodily injury or mental harm to members of the group. Causing serious bodily injury or mental harm. You could argue that the whole education system is mental harm. The whole education system is mental harm. Am I wrong, brothers and sisters? Am I wrong? The American public and charter school system is psychological genocide. Am I wrong, brothers and sisters? Am I wrong, brothers and sisters? Let's go to number 3. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or part. Let me read that one again, because that's a bullseye. Let me read that one again, because that is a bullseye. Let me read that one again, because that is a bullseye. Letter C, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life, poverty, homelessness, gentrification, unemployment, alcoholism, opioid crisis, crack epidemic, AIDS, COVID, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about the physical destruction in whole or part. Case is closed right there. You, the jury. Is America guilty or not, brothers and sisters? We, the people. We, the people. Let's go to letter D. Imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group. Imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group. Imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group. Can somebody say Rainbow Gang? Can somebody say Zaya Wade? Can somebody say Rainbow Gang? Can somebody say Zaya Wade? Can somebody say Kamala Harris with the rainbow flag? Can somebody say Planned Parenthood? Can somebody say abortion? Can somebody say hysterectomy? Can somebody say infant mortality? Imposition measures intended to prevent birth. The entire rainbow agenda of the Democratic Party. The entire rainbow agenda of the Democratic Party is intended to prevent birth within the group. AIDS to prevent abortion, hysterectomy, poor medical care for pregnant black women, the worst infant mortality rate in the developed world. Brothers and sisters, is America guilty? Now you know why they killed El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. Now you know why they killed El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. We got 2 more. We got 1 more. Y'all ready for this one? This really gonna blow you off. Y'all ready for this one? Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Can somebody say juvenile detention? Can somebody say foster care? Can somebody say adoptive care? Can somebody say child protective services? Can somebody say Department of Human Services? Can somebody talk about the caseworkers who be stealing black people's kids from them every day? Can somebody talk about the CPS caseworkers who be stealing black people's children from their families every day? Can somebody talk about CPS and how they be stealing black people's children and giving them to white rainbow gangers? Stealing our kids and giving them to white rainbow gangers. Stealing our children and giving them to white rainbow gangers. Brothers and sisters, America is guilty of all 5 criteria of genocide. The United States government is guilty of all 5 criteria of the international definition of genocide. But you know what the problem is, brothers and sisters? But you know what the problem is, brothers and sisters? The same Rockefeller Empire. The same Rockefeller Empire. The same Rockefeller Empire that helped finance Planned Parenthood. The same Rockefeller Empire that financed Planned Parenthood is the same Rockefeller Empire that donated land upon which the United Nations headquarters was built. I'm going to say it again. The same family that financed Planned Parenthood is the same family that helped build the United Nations headquarters. So if you think that the United Nations is going to hold America responsible, if you think the United Nations is going to hold America responsible, when the same Rockefeller Empire that financed Planned Parenthood helped build the United Nations, America will never be held accountable for her crimes against humanity.